What if you don't feel you are a good man anymore? I was unfaithful to my wife, and there's a lot that goes into that, but ultimately it was my decision. Now, intimacy with my wife post 8 years since the sin is boring. Intimacy happens once a month of that. There have been periods where it's been more than 6 months. I have gotten tired of being rejected, so I don't even try anymore. All of this makes me think I am the problem and that I am not a good man. You talk about all the good men out there, but what about those of us who have made horrible mistakes? So thank you again so much for this question. And you are not alone. And this is a common issue that I see in talking with good men, reading your comments, reading the questions that you send in to me, that it's very difficult for a good man to know he's a good man. Many times that is very, very common from different mistakes or who they've been created to be by their wives, and buying into their wives' stories of who they are and how they are the problem, that diminishes a good man's sense of self and his sense of confidence and knowing who he is. So you are not alone. And especially for good men who have been unfaithful and made a mistake and stepped outside the marriage, it's very difficult to overcome based on the dynamics that you're dealing with in your marriage after that mistake. And so we're going to give a little framework around that. So in answering this question, the truth is that good men can make horrible mistakes. Good men can make horrible mistakes. And I'm sure the wonderful men who join the show every Saturday can attest to that in the chat and in the comments, that you're not perfect. There's nothing about the phrase good man that means perfect man. It means that your foundation is one of being steady, stable, responsible, hardworking, loving, kind, thoughtful, and you are still human. We are all human. And regardless of being a man or a woman, we are all human, and we all have the capacity, no matter how wonderful of a person we may be or how good of a man you may be, we all have the capacity to make horrible mistakes and choices and decisions, because as humans, we all have shortcomings. We all have flaws. We have errors in judgment and errors in choices, sometimes bigger than others. And that's a part of life, and that's part of being human. So you have to embrace and accept that reality and normalize that you made a big mistake. But you also want to understand why you maybe have made that mistake as a good man, which I'm going to get into here in just a moment. One of the ways that you can know you are a good man is that you have remorse and regret for your mistake, and as this man put in his question, for his sin. So the fact that you have remorse and regret, and that you have sought forgiveness, and that you are trying to be a better man, lets you know you're a good man. And it doesn't mean you're perfect. The other piece of how you can know that you are a good man is the continual punishment that you receive from your wife. That's the lack of sex and intimacy in the marriage, that she will always hold this over your head and withhold and punish you for your transgression. And through that behavior and that punishment of you, that is the gaslighting that's causing you to feel that you are the problem and that you are not a good man, that she will always use this against you to make you feel that you are not a good man and that you did something horrible and unredeemable, because she won't be able to forgive you. What good men also need to understand in this position, if you have been unfaithful, and I've said this many times, I don't condone going outside the marriage. However, in knowing how good men are treated in a marriage, and especially around the withholding of sex, affection, appreciation, kindness, the emasculation, the manipulation, the gaslighting, is that pushes a good man to go outside of his character and morals and integrity, to be unfaithful. And a good man is still responsible for that choice. Like I said, doesn't make it okay or all right. And a good man has a very, very hard time living with that mistake and going outside the marriage, and has a lot of remorse and regret. But you want to understand what happens underneath that choice is it takes so much for some men to be pushed away, punished, emasculated, treated poorly before you are vulnerable and you do go outside the marriage and make that mistake. So you want to know that you were likely unfaithful. Again, I haven't talked to this man. I do not know the story. I'm using this as a talking point to reinforce and elaborate on some of the principles and message I teach on the channel. But it is likely that you were unfaithful because your wife pushed you away through emasculating you, withholding affection, love, kindness, and that left you very lonely and lost and empty and weak in yourself. That then an opportunity came along and you took it, and now you have regret and remorse for that because it's outside of your character and moral system. So you have to know why it happened and seeing it from that angle so that you don't think there's something fundamentally flawed about you or something horribly wrong with you, that you were unfaithful in your marriage. It is a common mistake that can be made and most likely happened if as a good man because of your wife's treatment of you. And knowing that allows you to forgive yourself and understand why it happened so you can rebuild that strength in yourself for your own sake and no longer feel that you are not a good man or that you are have made this horrible, unredeemable mistake. You have to see how your wife pushed you to that point to go outside your morals. And then again, you must forgive yourself and become grounded in knowing yourself as a good man. The sad truth is your wife will never forgive you. As women, even no matter how well-intentioned we are, no matter how much we want to be able to let something like this go, it is incredibly difficult for us in our wiring and how we hold on to hurt and how we were looking for something. The reason a woman pushes a good man away to cheat is it is the ultimate victim story that we can hold in our back pocket and pull out anytime we need to blame our husbands for the problems in the marriage and why we are so unhappy. So women will push a good man to get him to a point where he will cheat so that she has that ultimate perfect victim story and she can always point the finger out of how he was the problem and how badly he betrayed her and hurt her. And then she never has to look at herself and take any kind of accountability. That's why a woman pushes a good man to cheat, and she will never forgive you for it. So you must forgive yourself and must become grounded in who you are as a good man and understand even in that you make mistakes. So thank you again so much for that question. Hello again. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. For those women listening who know you are the problem and you want a path forward to change your woman ways and truly be happy in yourself, I have a course for women called the Happiness Program. And the Happiness Program teaches you to resolve the unhealthy relationship you have with yourself so that you can be the solution to the issues and challenges in your marriage and your life. You can find the link in the description below to learn more about the course and apply to enroll. For the good men listening who want a way to take back the power you've unknowingly given away to your wives, I also have a course for you called the Marriage Rescue Course for Good Men Only. And the course teaches you how to rebuild your strength and confidence so that you can navigate the relationship with your wife in a healthy, constructive way. Again, you can find the link below in the description to learn more about the course and apply to enroll. Again, thank you so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.